Hey everybody, Chris here. Are we looking at a Dogecoin turnaround? We're going to talk about that in this video. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel, hit that little notification bell too. You can be notified when my new videos come out, as well as when I do live streams. And on the Sunday live stream, we were looking at bear market signals. I'm going to follow up on each of those today in this video, so you don't have to go back and watch the live stream. But it was a lively live stream. We had a lot of fun as well, because that's what we try and do here, despite our portfolios being down. You gotta live, you can't take it too seriously. But I get it, right? People are hurting, people are wondering what happened with all of our altcoins and what's gonna happen with Bitcoin. So let's get into it. Let me show you the charts in the news. I'll show you what I'm looking at. We start here looking at the current Dogecoin chart. We're just under 16.2, about 16.19 cents as I'm recording this Monday morning. Stock market hasn't opened yet, but it's green pre-market. So we might have a good trading day in stocks. Will Bitcoin and crypto follow? But most cryptos are in the green. We had a little pullback on Litecoin, but most cryptos, all on my watch list, are all in the green this morning. So that is a recovery happening for crypto. Bitcoin is at 95,200, and we do have a bit of a bullish divergence. That's right. We had Bitcoin drop yesterday afternoon. This is on a 4-hour chart. Drop a little further than it had dropped earlier. That would be on from Friday. So Friday to Sunday, we saw a lower price, but the RSI is higher. That is a clear bullish divergence, right? So lower price, but higher RSI. Doge, yeah, Doge is pretty close, but somewhat similar. A little bit higher RSI, a little bit lower price. And look where it was. 15.4 was the bottom. That's the bottom of the red box that I've had for weeks. Here's the purple box up here we want to get back into. That's over 18 cents. But right now, clearly right in the middle, back in the red box. And again, I use these boxes just to track prices and just show how cryptos are performing from the October 10th flash crash. Again, that's a reference point that we continue to look at, is when everything changed in this bull cycle. So what does this mean? Well, look, we've got these different indicators we were looking at. The death cross. Yes, we had the death cross Saturday night for Bitcoin when the 50-day moving average crosses below the 200-day moving average. And typically when these happen, the markets actually tend to turn around. And we looked at all the data during yesterday's live stream as well, looking at like the 8 previous death crosses. And if you take all the average, right, prices do not continue to go down. So we'll chop a little around sideways and have some upward movement. That is typically what happens following a death cross. Again, the death cross is not a predictor of what's going to happen in the future. Instead, it's showing the current trend, which is always down when the death cross happens, right? Because the 50-day is more volatile than the 200-day. So when it crosses back below, that shows what the trend is going into that occurrence, but it's not an indicator of what happens next. The next one. Also, the 50 moving average, but this time the weekly. The 50-week moving average, we have been tracking this, and they say, right, and basically what happened back in 2021 is you need to have a second weekly close below the 50-week moving average in order for the bear trend to rear its ugly head. This is what happened back in 2021. Bitcoin hit 69K. It fell back. There's the 50-week moving average starting to turn, and we had a close below the 50-week. Guess what happened the next week? We were in the green. It went up. But then the week after went back down, closed second time below the 50-week moving average, and that was the end of the bull cycle, and we were clearly in the bear. This cycle, here we are, 2025, we've had our first weekly close below the 50-week moving average. So we're starting to show green, we're starting to move back up. This would be the second week, and then you would think, well, the third week, then we will fall back. And of course, that third week, right, 2 weeks from now, we're going to be looking at Thanksgiving and Black Friday and all of that. So we'll see how that plays out. And then the third is the CME gap. Yes, the CME gap. Look where Bitcoin came down to. Just the top part of the CME gap that we had back in April. Bitcoin News says, don't tell me we went all the way down to tap the top of the 92K CME gap and didn't fill it. And here's Bitcoin going all the way down. There are many who say, well, this is just a little trap here. We're going to come back down. We're going to fill the gap. And then from there, do we bounce back up like many say? Or is that other indicator of a bear market where we close the gap and instead of bouncing back up, we end up moving lower? So again, those are the things we are tracking over the next couple of weeks. Gel updated his bull market pullback chart and saying now we are down 26% in this most recent pullback. Still not as bad as the April drop, which was 32%. And then the previous summer's drop that we had, which was a 32% drop. And remember, even back in 2021 bull market, we had 32% drop. And then you go back to 2017, we had 31, 34, 34, and even some 40% pullbacks during a bull cycle. Bitcoin was much more volatile back then. That's obviously by its chart. It's becoming less volatile. It's flattening out more, but still, it's a significant pullback. But it's from a previous or a new all-time high at 126,200. So that's what is happening with pullbacks. Again, is this where we enter bear market, though, and we start having bigger pullbacks like what happened in 2022? And that would be bear market. There are many, though, who say, look, this is just another bounce on the way up, 140K, right? Next target. So there are many bulls still out there and think that this is just a bounce. Again, another higher low, and prices will go higher. And then Polymarket is betting, well, if we're looking at 90K versus 110K for Bitcoin, what's going to happen first? And there's a 69% chance that we're going to see 90K. That's right there, 90K, 69% chance before we recover back up to 110. And that's what the Polymarket bettors are looking at. Overall, is this just another support line, right? We had an upward sloping support line. We broke below it. And so, like Alan likes to do, right? And many of us, we do it. We just change our line, right? And we look back a little further and we draw a new line and said, okay, now this is support, right? Yeah, we do that. So what does this mean for Dogecoin? Well, for Doge, right, we still try and have fun, right? We still try and entertain a little bit. And again, I know it's your portfolios, they're looking down, but this is Dogecoin, right? Dogecoin closed the week in the red, marking 3 straight weeks of decline. However, the Dogecoin official X account injects fun amid boring market activity. Oh, it's not really boring. It's a little bearish. It's still bearish, I say. Again, I am not 100% convinced we are in a bear market yet. I need confirmation. I know many of you are. We had a vote, a poll during Sunday's live stream, and we were mixed. Like a third said bear, a third said bull, and a third were like, meh, right? Crab, sideways, undetermined. But the majority of cryptos, including Doge, were trading down in Sunday. But the crypto market overall remains under strain after the $19 billion in liquidation since October 10th's flash crash wiped out over $1 trillion from the total market value of all cryptos. We still look back at October 10th as the date that changed this entire bull market. Liquidations in long positions have been significant, with open interest in cryptos futures struggling to recover since the market crash in early October. The fear and greed index is at 18. Extreme fear, again, we looked at that yesterday. What does that mean, extreme fear? Well, the last time we were extreme fear, we touched on it in April, but then you got to go back further in time, especially with Bitcoin, and we're at a higher price now with extreme fear than we were those previous times. Higher price, extreme fear on fear and greed, that upward trend does still look in play. So Amid the current sentiment in the market, Dogecoin, in its usual lighthearted manner, tended to inject a little bit of fun. It's the weekend. Weekend, what a Doge to do. Just having a little fun, lighthearted, humorous nature perfectly aligns with its ethos as a fun currency. Playful nature, grassroots origins have endeared it in the crypto market, now ranking as the 9th largest cryptocurrency with a market cap of over $24 billion. Not going anywhere, it's still a top 10 crypto. Notable buzz of late revolved around Dogecoin. Elon Musk recently posted a picture of a Shiba Inu, Dogecoin's mascot, with the meme of a Shiba Inu playing a banjo. Of course, he's highlighting the different things that Grok Imagine can do, like taking a picture and making it into a video, or taking one video and changing it to be a different video. That's what he was showing with that. But he does show, right, that the Sheeb, and he keeps reposting different Imagine videos revolving around Dogecoin, like the other one where it's an Elon Musk figure giving the news and saying Dogecoin to the moon. And Elon reposted it. Again, little hints. We also have what's going to happen with these ETFs. The House of Doge Partner 21 Shares has also launched 2 top 10 crypto index ETFs that include Doge. So Doge is already out there trading within broader range ETFs, of course, which include Bitcoin and Solana and ETH. But also Doge is in there. And now we're waiting to see about the individual Dogecoin ETFs coming forward. So all of that continues. Today, the Fear and Greed Index is out of the extreme fear. It's now into fear. It's still fear. It's still 25. I get it, right? But we're out of the extreme fear that we had yesterday. Trader Allen looks at a broadening wedge, and is this just a bounce, right, of a downward sloping support line that leads us to move up to the next resistance line? That's the next piece right here. Looking at that chart, and he follows up with, could this be just a higher accumulation zone similar to what we had in the summer of 2024 before the eventual next move up? What's happening with X money? Is it going to launch? Is this the type of price spike that we could get when X money launches, even though Dogecoin will not be part of that? Just the hype around the possibility that Dogecoin may one day be part of X money could be enough for this to happen. We'll talk more about that on the Monday live stream. Make sure that you're subscribed, you got your notifications on. Leave a comment below. What do you think? Bear market, bull market, or crab market? And give the video a like as always. We'll see you next time.